BetOnline is the #1 source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB and golf to the NBA and NHL playoffs. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. What's up, Astros fans? Jeff Balke and Mike Stanton here for your Friday update. I'm wearing my Corpus Christi Hooks hat today because I feel like I might need to start watching the minors for a while. Honestly, Mike, I'm not really sure what to say about this Astros team. Their pitching is a wreck. They leave more men on base than anyone in baseball. Hey, we're better than everybody at something. I know they have an entire starting rotation on the injury list, but what the hell is going on? I mean, it feels like bizarro world where the guys that we didn't expect to be good in the bullpen are suddenly pitching well, and the guys who are supposed to be good are not. Like, what's going on?
Well, if you wanted the shorter answer is baseball. That's what's happening. I mean, as soon as you think you have everything figured out, that's when the baseball gods jump up and say, guess what? No, you don't. I mean, we heard Dana Brown talk all spring training about their starting pitching depth. Well, that has been questioned. I mean, you look at what's happened just in the last series. You had 2 rookies make their big league debut in your rotation, and you were less than 2 weeks into the season. You know, could you have predicted that? No, you couldn't. And is that a problem? It is. And we'll just have to wait and see how they want to go about this. You know, JV, Justin Verlander, is right around the corner. He's going to get one more rehab start. Then he's going to be back in the rotation. That's going to be a big boost. Now, we're not talking about JV going 7 innings, especially not, right out of the box. But just having your Hall of Famer back at the top of the rotation is something. Fromber is supposed to start throwing lightly, see how the elbow feels. We'll keep our fingers crossed there that, this IL stint doesn't have to be extended. But it's just one of those things. You got to tread water until things get better. Offensively, actually, they are leading the lead in several categories. Actually, they're leading the lead in a lot of offensive categories. Mm-hmm. The problem is they're hitting 202 with runners in scoring position. So they're getting the opportunities, and that's what any hitting coach will tell you. Just keep giving us opportunities. This will come. And we've seen this from this team before. They'll start getting those hits. Yeah. And the way the pitching staff is, they need every run that they can get.
Yeah, but speaking of that pitching, I'm not sure what to do right now with Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown is a guy who's now in his second full season. He is obviously struggling, and it's not necessarily with command. He's throwing, he's getting balls in the strike zone. It's just they're getting hit and hit hard. Getty, we saw him come up. His biggest problem was command. That's been his problem in the minors. He pitched when he was throwing the ball in the zone. He was getting swings and miss. It was that 3rd inning where things got away from him. But with Hunter, I kind of look at him and I'm like, does he need to go down for a while to figure it out? Or do they just stick with him, hold on, and just sort of hold on and hope he can get through this? Because he's been a kind of a train wreck.
I don't think you're to that point yet. I mean, because the other side of that argument would be, or another part of that argument would be, well, who are you going to replace him with?
Right. Well, that's it.
That's the other issue. And what I saw the other day, the stuff looks okay. I mean, maybe velocity was down a tick, but he had to throw a lot of stress pitches right out of the box, over 40 pitches trying to get through that 1st inning.
Right.
What I saw more than anything else, if you go back, Jeff, you're gonna find something out about me very quickly. Now there's 2 parts. The command has been the issue. Now I'm splitting hairs, just wordplay here. Command is an issue, okay? Because command is not throwing strikes. Control is throwing strikes. Command is actually putting the ball where you want to. And what I saw with Hunter was the command was an issue. And I'm a big component. If you ever hear me talk about this on the pre and post game, I am a big believer in elevation control. Okay, not so much corners. Corners are important. But if you spend a lot of time from mid-thigh to belly button in that middle, it doesn't matter if it's on a corner, they're going to get hit. And if you go back and watch highlights of that game the other day, it seemed like every pitch he threw was like, mid thigh to belt high. And whether it was a breaking ball or a fastball, and you saw a lot of really good swings. Pitchers need to be below that. Pitchers need to be above that. When you're in the middle there, that's when you're going to have issues. And that's what I saw was that, the highlights, especially the highlights where they show them, the clips go pretty quickly. And you just notice that every pitch is in the middle of the height-wise is in the middle of the strike zone.
Well, and you can change.
Actually, a lot of them were actually middle. They were middle of the plate, east and west also.
Yeah, that's a real problem. The thing to me is it's a good point you make, because the thing is you can change just a guy's eye level when they're in the batter's box, obviously, and that can have an effect. And certainly you want to get some balls up, because then if you can get them up, then you can start going east and west and start thinking about, okay, let me throw one up and in, let me throw one down and away. And then you really do start getting swings and misses. But I hadn't noticed that, but that's a really good point. If you're putting the ball right in the guy's sweet spot, at least vertically, they're going to hit. And when you've got good hit, and look,
they're going to put good swings on it. And it's just one of those things that's not like he's trying to do it. We've heard the old saying that this is a game of inches. It really is. A couple inches higher, a couple inches lower, he gets a ground ball, gets a double play, and he's out of the inning. But, he gets the dubious distinction of a major league record, which was, let's see, an outing that you do not register 3 outs.
Right.
And you give up 11 hits.
I saw something about that. That's just unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, and you've also got, is it Suero? Wander Suero came in and now has an infinity ERA because he didn't give up a single out and they lost the game. Yeah. I mean, they've got a guy with an ERA of 135. I mean, it's some kind of remarkable numbers. So,
but to go back to Hunter, I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
I think that you got to give him just a little bit of time. The guy can pitch. He's just got to find that command. And I'm also a big component of what's called speed differential. Yeah. The difference in speed. Now, one of the things we heard all spring training was about how he's trying to back off his slider, and we saw that, but you still got to have control. You still have to have command and be able to put the ball where you want to. But you just saw too many balls in the middle part of the plate. And listen, the other side of this is the Kansas City Royals are hot.
Yeah, they are. There's no doubt.
The thing is, pitchers make mistakes every single at bat. Pitchers make mistakes and put the ball in the middle of the plate quite often. I mean, watch the game tonight. How many balls are down the middle and they're fouled off? Well, when things aren't going right, they're not fouled off. They're hit hard, and a lot of times they're base hits.
I thought that about Spencer Arrietty's outing is that I saw there were a bunch of hits that were just like bloops, and like the only double that he gave up was one that was sort of way at the top of the zone, and it was just a lefty who poked it out into left field. That happens. You're right. When guys are on a tear and they're hitting baseballs, it's definitely it makes it very difficult for pitchers. Sure. And the thing you said, this is the thing I've always been taught, and I've always read, is that the reason pitching is so difficult on hitters, the reason it's so difficult to hit a baseball is because it's a 3-dimensional. It's up, down, left, right, and fast, slow, and so you're having to deal with all the time.
Yes, pitching is 3-dimensional. You have what I use north, south, east, and west, and give and take. And give and take is the hard one.
Yes, it is.
That's the one. That's the one when we start talking about the hardest part of hitting isn't hitting the ball. The hardest part of hitting is timing the pitch.
Boy, that's
why pitchers change speeds.
Yes.
But again, with Hunter, even when you change speeds, you put the ball in the middle part of the plate in a good spot vertically, they're still going to put a pass on it, especially when they're hot.
Yeah, that's right. So switching a little bit to offense, look, the Astros right now have only 3 guys with an 800 OPS or better, and one in the upper 700s. That's Jeremy Pena. They have a bunch of guys in the 600s in OPS, which is not good at all.
Yeah, right.
And that's going to obviously hurt you, especially left on base, because when you have multiple sort of holes in your lineup going through it, that's going to stall out an inning really quick, or you're going to get a double play when you don't need it. But the guy that right now, I just think you cannot – Martin Maldonado was everybody put a lot on him last year, and he did not hit well. It's one of the worst I think he was the worst position playing hitter in baseball last year. Okay. But he was not hitting 081, which is what Jose Abreu right now is hitting.
Right.
And I mean, he's got an OPS in the 200s. I didn't even know that was possible. And I start, I look at that and I start thinking, it is, and I've been saying this since the start of spring training earlier this year, that I cannot believe that the Astros are going to go in this season with their two viable options at first base being Jose Abreu and John Singleton. It makes no sense whatsoever. Even if you thought Abreu was going to be okay, there's nothing to indicate to anyone that he was suddenly going to be a great hitter again. And then you've got John Singleton on the bench, who's never been a great hitter, period. I mean, this is a bad situation for them, and I don't know what they do to get out of it.
Yeah, I don't either. And then you got the kid in the minor leagues that is just lighting it up. So everyone's saying, bring him up. I mean, you got to have the roster spot. There's a lot that goes into it, not just – okay, he hit another home run last night or the night before. He's got like six or seven home runs.
He's got 6 or 7, yeah.
It's crazy.
But he also strikes out a lot, so it's not just he's hitting a lot, but he's also striking out a boatload.
And so it's just not that simple just to bring him up, because there's the business side that gets in the way. There's roster, your 40-man roster, your 26-man. There's just a lot of things that goes into it to bring a guy up. And what do you do with the guys that are already there? One of the main reasons you kept Singleton was because he was out of options. You can't send him down. If you send him down, he's going to be able to be picked up by another team. Not sure if anybody would do that. And then the other one is Abreu. I mean, what do you do with him? You still owe him a bunch of money. Now, again, we're still talking about such a small sample size. We're talking about 14 games into the regular season. We're not talking about, 6 or 7 weeks, because if you remember, that's when general managers start looking at their team, is once you've got a large enough sample size, and it's usually mid-May is when they do that. But it has been a hole, to say the least. And if the team was winning, if the team was scoring runs, you maybe can give them a little bit of a break there. But with the team struggling to score runs, with runners in scoring position, I mean, it just makes the situation even that much more glaring and obvious.
And if your number 9 guy is hitting 230. 240, that's fine. You can live with your 9-hole guy hitting that, which is what Jake Myers is doing, right? So you can live with that, especially if they give you something else like defense, or they give you, if they have speed on the base paths. But Abreu, 081 is a different level of bad. And so I'm just, and look, it's not, and we should note for a lot of people, because there's a lot of people, unrealistic people, especially on social media. This is not obviously all on Jose Abreu. The Astros have plenty of issues to have to deal with. And it's possible that Jose Abreu comes back and starts hitting. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary for him to suddenly go on a hot streak, just like the Astros as a team. But it's something that is really contributing right now offensively.
It is, and he is just, he's kind of the poster child for the. It's hard to say struggling offense, because, like I said, they're leading the American League, at least, maybe Major League Baseball, in batting average. Yep. I mean, they have the highest batting average in the American League, so
lots of singles.
It's hard to say it's a struggling offense, but it's. The 202 batting average with runners in scoring position, that's the real issue. One of the old sayings, I guess that's kind of the key phrase to today's podcast. There's a lot of things that win championships. 2-out hits. 2-out hits is what really, when the pitcher thinks he's out of it, you can get 2-out hits and drive in runs when the pitcher thinks that he's out of the inning. That's disheartening, not just to the pitcher, but to the other team, and they just haven't been able to do that.
So now, I guess, Mike, let's put our wizard hats on. Okay. What do they do? Like, what do they do? I mean, obviously, the part of baseball is it's a long season, and you got to grind. It's part of the deal. But how do they? how do they shake themselves out of this? Because it doesn't get any easier after KC. Then they've got the Rangers back at home, and then the Braves. And hopefully you get JV back in time for either the Rangers series, probably for the Braves actually next week.
Maybe the Braves, yeah.
So I mean, what do they do? Do they just hold on for dear life and pray to God? I mean, what's the solution? Actually,
that's really it. You just keep doing what you're doing. You know that the system works. Mm-hmm. Okay, all you have to do is look what happened in the past, and another old saying is, the player is going to play to the back of his baseball card. He may be struggling now, but things will get better. So they have to just make sure that they don't panic and don't start stressing and trying to do too much, because that's when this bad streak can be prolonged. If you can just accept what's happened in the past, try and stay positive moving forward. And that's one of the things that Joe Espada is so good at, is staying positive and trying to build his players up. That's when it changes. But you also can't look at, the whole picture. Right now, you have to look at the small picture, which is today's baseball game. Win today's baseball game, and then you go from there. You can't win more than one game in a day unless you have a doubleheader. You can't score, 5 runs before you score 4 runs or before you score 1 run.
Yep.
So you just have to, win the game, win the inning, win the at-bat, win the pitch, and just go from there. This is still a talented club. Yep. This is not a situation that all of a sudden, they're going to fall off the edge of the earth. No, they're still going to win a whole bunch of ball games, and they can still do everything that they planned on doing, but they have to just worry about today's ball game.
Maybe it's time for the Chronicle to reprint that tombstone they did in, was it 2005?
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Bring back the tombstone. Anything. I mean, look, we can. What's what we say? We need a live chicken to get the the curse off.
Should have got the live chicken.
Should have got the live
not
chicken.
The bucket of chicken.
Anything you can do at this point. Any God you worship, go ahead and let them know that we need a little bit of help down here in Houston. So
Joe Boo needs a refill, right?
And by the way, Joe Boo needs a refill. Exactly. And by the way, everybody's like, well, at least they're coming home to Minute Maid. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. I guess we'll find out. I mean, look, they did hit more home runs in Minute Maid. Like suddenly the home runs have been off a cliff. So maybe that'll help them have some, crooked numbers in innings, but it's perplexing.
Well, they're going to have the fan support. That.
They will have that.
This place it's going to be rocking and rolling tonight. It's another big and bright Friday night. There's going to be fireworks after the game. So there's a lot of things maybe they can turn it around tonight, because like I said, it's one thing to be on the road and hear the boos. It's another thing to be at home and have, 30,000 plus people behind you.
Yeah. Well, look, it's beautiful out. Maybe they'll open the roof for something other than fireworks. We can fingers crossed, although I'm not counting on it. That's for sure.
Right.
They had it open in Dallas of all places. And they're going to, but it's a spectacular weekend. So regardless of what happens with the Astros, we all want them to win and everything. It'll be a great weekend for baseball. The Masters is on this weekend, obviously underway. So that's always fun. The Rockets are finishing up their season. The NFL draft is coming right around the corner. Like this is a good time to be watching sports, and hopefully we'll get some good news out of Minute Maid Park as well as not just and hey, maybe some from Corpus. I got to get. Have you been down to Whataburger Field? I have not been down there yet. I think I'm going down there. My brother-in-law who lives in Austin, he and I have been talking about getting down there. I think I'm going to go down there for a weekend and catch a game. Whataburger Field is supposed to be excellent.
Yeah.
Unless it's Whataburger.
And I'll tell you what, they sell a lot of those, the old, what was it, the honey butter chicken biscuit uniforms.
Dude, I actually have a honey butter chicken biscuit hat from Corpus Christi. Yes. It's got the Whataburger thing on the front, and then it's got honey butter chicken biscuit on the back. Look, the minor league is fun. If you've never gone
I'm not going to lie. That is a good sandwich.
Oh.
It's a good sandwich.
You're not lying. That is a good sandwich. I can't eat one right now, but it's a good sandwich. I got to keep Gotta watch out. Gotta watch my waist. Right. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Really appreciate it. We will be back next week to talk more. Hopefully not post-mortem Astros this time. Hopefully post-victory Astros this time.
Couple W's.
Yeah, let's get a couple W's in the book, and then we'll all be a little bit happier next week. Thanks everyone. Be sure to join us next week. Until then, have a great weekend and go Astros.
Adios.